In the natural world, filled with terrifying animals, there is one bird with such a strange body that it is often compared to a dinosaur left behind from ancient times. It has a gigantic, thick, and powerful beak that can swallow many kinds of prey whole in the swamp, and that bird is the shoebill, the mysterious bird known as the Lord of the Wetlands. The shoebill, also known as the shoebill stork, is a rare bird in the order Pelecaniformes and the only remaining member of the family Balanicipitidae. Its closest relatives include pelicans, herons, and storks. This bird has a very distinctive appearance, with ancient-looking features that often remind people of prehistoric creatures when they see it. It has an average height of more than 3 feet, or more than 1 meter, while its wingspan can reach over 6.5 feet, which is more than 2 meters. Its weight usually ranges from 9 to 18 pounds, or about 4 to 8 kilograms. The most unusual feature of the shoebill's body is the proportion between its body parts. The bird's head is extremely large, almost as wide as its body. In contrast, the neck supporting it from below is slender and rather small. On top of that, this bird also has a small tuft of feathers sticking up from the top of its head, giving it a pretty funny look. And this bird's beak is shaped much like a large shoe, which is also where its name comes from. The beak is both huge and wide, and at the tip, it has a sharp hook-like structure that works as an effective tool for holding slippery prey, such as fish. Along with its signature beak, this bird also has 2 other very striking biological features. The first is the position of its eyes. Unlike most birds, whose eyes are located on the sides of the head, the shoebill's eyes are positioned at the front of its skull, much like a human's, allowing its vision to stay focused straight ahead. The second feature is its long, skinny legs, with toes that spread out very widely and can reach up to 7 inches long, or about 18 centimeters. This special foot structure helps distribute the bird's body weight evenly, allowing it to stay balanced on the muddy ground of swampy wetlands. The ideal habitat of the shoebill is the wild wetlands of Africa. This bird tends to live a solitary life, so it often chooses shallow, muddy areas with dense reeds, sedges, or papyrus plants. These are all areas with extremely difficult, rugged terrain that is hard to access and rarely visited by humans. This isolation creates favorable conditions for the species to survive, because untouched wetland ecosystems provide an incredibly abundant and diverse food supply. When hunting for food, the shoebill is famous for its patience and intense focus. Its main source of nutrition comes from freshwater fish that live in shallow water. Besides fish, its menu is also extremely diverse, including frogs, snakes, small birds, and sometimes even baby crocodiles. And the idea that this bird swallows everything comes from the oversized structure of its shoe-shaped beak. With a beak that large, when it hunts in the swamp, the space inside the beak often contains many things besides the prey, such as water, mud, grass, and debris. However, it does not swallow all of that. The way this bird eats is actually quite clean. It gets rid of whatever cannot be eaten first, and only then eats the main food. The reason the shoebill is known as the Lord of the Wetlands comes from the combination of its majestic, massive build and its ability to lock onto a target with great accuracy, thanks to its forward-facing eyes. The biological structure of this bird is an adaptation to flooded environments, giving it the position of a standout predator within the ecosystem. The presence of the shoebill in the wetlands also has a major influence on other creatures. Because it is usually not very friendly by nature, it always keeps its distance from other shoebills. However, with other bird species such as herons or spoonbills, it tends to be more tolerant. In addition, because of its body size, the shoebill unintentionally acts like a protective wall for the surrounding water area. As a result, many smaller birds often tend to gather in flocks around the shoebill to gain safety and minimize threats from other predators. Behind its solitary lifestyle, the shoebill is actually a creature with a special way of life. This bird often follows a monogamous pattern, with pairs usually forming strong bonds and staying together during the breeding season. When the breeding season begins, both the male and the female take part in building the nest. This nest is usually made from natural wetland materials such as sedge stems, reeds, and dry grass, and it can reach up to 8.2 feet wide, or about 2.5 meters. This species usually lays 1 to 3 eggs in each breeding season, and both parents share the responsibility of incubating the eggs and protecting the nest for about 1 month until the chicks hatch. Compared with many other birds in the natural world, the development of a baby shoebill happens very slowly. When it first hatches, the chick's body is covered with a soft layer of gray down. Even though its beak is still small at this stage, the tip of the beak already has the species' signature sharp hook. The time needed for the young bird to fully grow its feathers is quite long, lasting about 95 days. Usually, the young bird remains closely attached to the family nest until it reaches about 3 months old. By the 4-month mark, the shoebill is considered fully independent. One very interesting trait is that even after becoming independent, the young birds still tend to choose living areas and search for food in familiar wetlands around their parents' home. The full sexual maturity cycle of this bird requires a period of up to 4 years. In terms of lifespan, the shoebill has a fairly long and resilient life cycle, with an average lifespan in the wild of about 35 years, and in captivity, that number can reach up to 50 years. Although it has a long lifespan and a strong ability to adapt to wetland environments, the future of the shoebill today is extremely fragile. This ancient bird is one of the species that needs special attention and protection from humans. According to BirdLife International, the shoebill is currently classified as vulnerable. Some older sources once mentioned higher numbers, but current conservation estimates show that only about 3,300 to 5,300 mature individuals remain in the wild, and the population trend is still declining. This serious population decline mainly comes from the negative impact humans have on the ecosystem. The biggest cause is the loss of natural wetlands, which are the only home of this species. As humans expand land for agriculture, livestock farming, wetland exploitation, or alter natural water flows, the shoebill's living space gradually shrinks. When this environment is destroyed or degraded, this bird completely loses the place it needs to survive. In addition, the shoebill is highly sensitive to disturbances caused by human activity, especially during the nesting season, when people enter too close to breeding areas, engage in illegal hunting, trade live wild birds, or steal eggs and chicks from nests for food-related purposes. All of these actions affect the species' ability to maintain future generations. Although it has the majestic appearance of a large hunter, the shoebill is actually a gentle and very polite bird by nature. One special trait that makes this bird widely admired is its natural etiquette when interacting with humans. If it receives a respectful bow from a person, the shoebill has the habit of slowly bowing its head in return, like a true gentleman. Therefore, a miraculous, intelligent creature marked by the passage of ancient history, like the shoebill, should not exist only through photographs or old documentary footage. The presence of this ancient bird is a priceless part of the wild natural world. Even though they have the powerful appearance of a true ruler standing in the wetlands, they are now extremely fragile creatures facing the harsh wave of change in the modern world. Working together to protect the shoebill and preserve Africa's wetland ecosystems is the only key to saving this animal from the risk of disappearing from Earth forever. And do you know any other interesting facts about this bird? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Goodbye, and I will see you again in the next videos.